Hello, and thanks for joining Marketing Tips for Public Libraries. We have two creative librarians from Ferndale Area District Library. They are very active on social media, and they'll be sharing their social strategy with you today. Then they'll briefly dip into their website and how they use that to promote their library. After that, we'll have time for any questions you might have. First, we'll hear from Jenny Marr. She's the library director at Ferndale. Then a man with many talents, Jeff Milo, the marketing coordinator. I'm Kim Cadu. I work in marketing at EBSCO. And we also have my colleague here, Chris Lull. He's EBSCO's library website expert. A couple of more things before we begin. I have a quick survey for after the webinar. I'd love to get your feedback. It's super quick and short. I'll share the link during the Q&A time. Let's see. We will be recording and I will share that video within a few days. We are sharing the slides as well, so don't worry about writing everything down. You can enter your questions at any time in the Q&A area. And now let's kick things off with Jenny.
Good morning, everyone. Jeff, you can skip to the next one if you'd like.
Sure. Suddenly don't have control over it. Hold on. Oh.
The wireless keyboard to turn on.
Stay tuned.
But while he's playing with that, I'll just start out. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about why we, how we came about as prioritizing marketing at our library and the value of it. And then Jeff's going to talk more about the fun part of it and how we actually do it. So Ferndale is a small community just north of Metro Detroit. So we're right on the border of Detroit. And oh, there's us.
There we go.
Yay.
Perfect.
So we're kind of, we're only about 4 square miles, we're in size. We're completely surrounded by larger communities than us. So, it's kind of like a hidden gem in Metro Detroit. So if you don't live in this area, most people probably don't even know we exist. So, we're known, we have a nice downtown with bars and restaurants. We're kind of that, a walkable artsy music kind of scene for it, but it's real hard, to like get noticed. And to be able to, especially to our own people, to let them know what we're doing, especially to set ourselves aside from, all the libraries that are very near to us all around. You can go to the next one, Jeff. So in 2018, we did our last big strategic planning session, and that's our library right there from above. You can see we're right in the downtown. We do have a green roof, in case you're wondering, that's up there. So we, in 2017, our new millage kicked in, and it really changed everything for us. We were finally, adequately funded. So but we found that people really didn't know that we had increased our services. So we were open to we're open 7 days a week now, and we were trying to bring on more people and try to increase what we did. But our big focus was like, how do we let people know? I mean, we've had people that lived here for years and maybe liked the idea of us, but didn't know what we had to offer. I'm sure every one of you in library land has been in a meeting where people are talking about doing something and you're like, the library already does that. So it's just like getting that word out to people, and letting people know that we're here and what we're doing. And in the end, I think we're all hearing the word advocacy more, and we think of it in terms of like legislative and, trying to go out, but really advocacy and marketing for us is the same thing. It's how you're telling your story and how you're letting people know what you do and what you can do for them, through our programs and services. Jeff, can skip to the next one.
I really wish it was working. Sorry about that. It's like freezing over here.
Interesting.
Oh, hold on. We got it. So sorry.
Delayed effect. So we, because we, always were kind of short-staffed in the past and, couldn't hire on people for special duties, everybody kind of pitched in where they could. Jeff started out as a circulation specialist, and in his off-desk time, in addition to like processing books and other things, he would also write our press releases and, you know, post things on social media. He has a journalism degree, so it was just something that he had a passion for and an aptitude for, so we just let him do it. And as the pandemic came, we really had a time to think about like, okay, we're closed, like most of you were, for, you know, the building was closed. How do we let people know what we're doing? How do we pivot over to curbside and let people know what our plan is? And we found that without people coming in anymore to see our flyers and do things, we really had to think very carefully about how to get that word out. And so we decided in the end that instead of this being a thing he did on the side, that really we needed someone whose full, you know, focus was doing marketing. And so what that is, that's all of our mailers that we send out to the community. That's our flyers, that's our e-newsletter, you know, our press releases, our social media. It all, just to have that be the priority of one person, and have one person who could talk to all the librarians, get all their programming information and distill it down into one, you know, message going out. And we've had such a great response over time, you know, with that focus, having one person whose hand was on everything, rather than like, you know, maybe youth services were sending out, you know, posts like this, and adult services was doing that, and just not cohesive. And we found that having one person who that was what their focus was, increased the messaging for our entire library and out in the community. So we created a marketing coordinator position. We never had one before. We weren't looking to create it. It just evolved. And I think a lot of times you'll find, especially if you're, you know, a smaller library, you really, you know, these things come out of what you need and what you can do. And that's what happened with us. And we're lucky to have Jeff, and this was a passion of his, but I think you can nurture that in any of your employees that have it. And just to make the conscious decision, like, this is important to us, and it's how we're going to talk to our community, because you'll find everybody takes information in differently, and you have to try a bunch of different ways. So Jeff is going to take over and talk about how he has been doing that. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I take that's something that Jenny already mentioned, telling our story. Every post, every press release, every bit of my activity is kind of guided by that. Whether we are promoting an art exhibition or if we are promoting a concert, that is sort of part of our mission. We're doing that because we want to show that we support the local arts. We want to be a place where people can encounter the arts. That is part of our ongoing story. Every post is like a little mini chapter in that ongoing story of our mission to enrich the community. But what I'm doing every day is trying to generate enthusiasm for library resources and programming, and also foster a sense of community. And what is a really big thing for me is kind of showing off the talents and the ongoing efforts of my coworkers and what they do here, whether that is masterful readers advisory, or if it is the great ideas they have for programming, or if it's how engaging they are doing story times. I want to be there documenting that. Part and parcel with generating that sense of community is making sure that I'm promoting inclusivity and equity. This is a welcoming space. This is a safe space for everyone. That is the library. And I'm also trying to demonstrate the range of access. Access is such a key word. I use it almost every day, every week. That's offered by the library to folks who already have their cards, or if you are a non-user at home, just a constant daily, weekly reminder of how awesome we and every library is. These are the conventional and very reliable outlets that we use that are not social media. We send out press releases for our very high profile events if we have a very big band, or if we have a very big author, or if we have news or new resources like a library of things, like something we're very excited about and we want to get it to the print newspapers. That is, in a sense, writing an article for a journalist. You give them everything that they need in terms of describing what's happening at your library, and ideally a photo too. They might just run that story verbatim because journalists are very busy and stressed and in a hurry and grateful for content. We send out e-newsletters once a month. This is primarily to generate enthusiasm for getting people to sign up for our events. And there are a variety of platforms and that can provide templates for distribution, etc. We are at this current day using MailChimp, but we're switching over to Savannah very soon. But Constant Contact is another one out there. A lot of you are probably already using one of those three. We're sending out print newsletters as well. These have been very effective to generate library card signups. They're containing little news articles and upwards to 3 months worth of full events listings. And we've already seen program attendance boost up because of that. So we use this cool company in Howell, Michigan called First Impression. There are alternatives. I always still use the good old flyer and have had people tell me they sign up for programs because they saw a flyer in our library. So it still works. We have a podcast, which we're going to get to later in this presentation. You could go for something like a radio spot if you wanted to reach out to your local NPR affiliate, if you have the budget for it, because it can be like $75 to $100 for just 15 seconds. Very worth it though. Or you could maybe go for partnerships around a community. We reach out to our Chamber of Commerce, DDA, and our public schools, and even also our seniors group too, which isn't listed there, to just let them know about what's going on in this library to see if they themselves might put it in their own newsletters. Why are we talking almost entirely about social media today? It's where I'm able to have a lot of fun, and I'm going to be revealing all my secrets about how I create engaging content for this library. This is what we're going to cover: platforms we should utilize, optimal scheduling, and we're going to get into the content of those posts, what my narrative goals are, the flair element, collaboration with my coworkers, and then we're going to get into the software that we use to enhance that content. There are some free options out there that we'll get to, and then I'm going to close out with directing traffic to our website and into the building, and just boosting awareness of what your library is doing. So there's so many platforms, so little time. I'll tell you what, we had a presence on a lot of social media platforms or places. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter, Tumblr. What you want to do is prioritize the time you're spending based on the engagement that you're receiving. We weren't getting traffic on Pinterest or Twitter. It was just tumbleweeds, and not really Tumblr either. So we, as you can see on the right, went with these three primarily. Just a quick note, it's inevitable that you're going to be spending time on these platforms. If you want to be getting your bearings or tracking down trends, and just be aware of that, just like a PSA psychological note, like monitor your own screen time when you're at work. And this is a best practice wherever you are. Remember that you're representing the library, and know that doesn't have to be a buzzkill because you saw me at the title screen on a ladder taking a picture of books on the floor. You can always have some fun. This is what we utilize on the right. These platforms for, if we're on Facebook, it's primarily for events, news updates. It is, you know, an important place to have your contact info because sometimes people treat Facebook like Google. And it's like, that's where we'll mostly see most of the comments and hopefully shares of our posts. Instagram, very visual medium. This is where you get to show off your library. It's where you can have some fun and cheeky memes. You could utilize Reels, which is what all the influencers on Instagram are telling you to do to boost awareness of your page, which we've done. Not as engaging as TikTok yet, but we're getting there. You can also put something together with stories. We're going to get to that. And then we've been on TikTok for about a year. This is a stylish and very silly and very surreal, but also highly effective means of reaching people. We have had lots and lots of people come in mildly dumbfounded, like, I couldn't believe you're on TikTok. It was so cool to see you on TikTok. You're actually very funny on TikTok. We've actually had people say they came in to get library cards because they saw us on TikTok. So hopefully we can continue that coolness. The cool thing about it is that it ignites creativity on my end, and it has ignited creativity on the staff members who help me with it, coming up with ideas for those videos. But as hinted at, it reaches those non-users. It reaches those people who have not been in the library for a while. So it's very effective. When to post and how often, just jump right over to the right. If you're on Facebook, it should probably only be once a day, probably even only 6 times a week, because that algorithm is honestly so clogged and your stuff will just get buried if you post too often. Another thing of note on Facebook is Facebook will bury your content if you have a link in your caption, because Facebook does not want you, how dare you, leading anyone off of Facebook. So that's tricky, just once a day. Instagram, you could do it about twice, no more than thrice. And on TikTok, you can go a little bit more wild, maybe 3 times per day. The good thing there is that you should do is review your analytics and insights. That might also show you that you need to maybe slow down your posts. Remember, if you're on Instagram and especially TikTok, to be utilizing hashtags. If you are on TikTok, you can save a draft of a video if you're not sure about it, or if you don't want to be posting too much in a day. And that's just the thing I have there. Resist the urge to post sometimes, if at all possible. These are scheduling software that you could use if you want. I'm a crazy human being who keeps a lot of this all in my own brain. We did use Buffer for a while, but you have a lot of options out there. I'm just including that as just a informational post if you would want some help to assist with scheduling and post optimization. Sprout, Loomly, Hootsuite. I would highly advise any of these if you want, but you can also, you can also do it old school and analog, which we will get to. Okay, this is a big one. What do I post? And if you like, this is what could guide your posts. Content ideally is getting the followers of the library excited about visiting the library or using library resources, could be digital resources, or attending a library program, could be a virtual program. Or you're instilling a sense of appreciation for your staff and services. You especially want this if your library is coming up for a millage. You want people to be thinking about the library in a very positive light, make them very appreciative of all your efforts. If they are not coming in, which this was the case very much during the pandemic, trying to foster a sense of community, even from a distance. And that came down to lots of reading recommendations, lots of videos that we created, lots of virtual programming that we created. And then also for engaging content, which we're going to get to, indulge in pop culture ephemera. We were talking right before this program started about Bridgerton. How are we not going to mention or reference Bridgerton in library world? And you could make pop culture jokes, usually literary humor, humorous posts, positive posts, posts that reference extremely popular things like Bridgerton or me, like the Dune adaptation. That gets lots of likes and engagement. And finally, focus on facets of the library, whether it is your resources or your services that demonstrate how libraries have, surprise, actually evolved into the 21st century, and efficiently so. This is the daily, weekly, hourly struggle of marketing libraries. It is sort of that we are more than just books narrative that we're constantly pushing. This is for Facebook and to an extent Instagram too, when you're just like, there's a tone that you can reach in your captions, where we are basically defying those misconceptions of libraries as being these stuffy, shushing institutions that might be stuck in the 90s. You can be informal with your writing voice when you're writing these brief, snappy, punchy captions. You can be off the cuff, but still grammatically sound, because you are seen as an institution of education. Try not to be too snarky, because you can invite back exactly what you project. Good thing to remember. You don't want negativity in your comments. You're writing for the library, but remember that the perception is you are writing as the library. So I'm not writing as Jeff. I'm not writing I. I'm developing a consistent collective feeling personality. I am saying we. This is what, here's our favorite books. But if nothing else, adopt a tone that's charming and pleasant, talk to your followers with the same poise and politeness that you would in person at a service desk. And going back to that grammatically sound situation, we have editors who read my stuff and make sure that I'm not just going crazy in the captions, and offer their proofreading services. When it does come to comments, I say be responsive and wary. Remember that if someone who's commenting on a post in Facebook, in my opinion, probably will not go the extra step to maybe call or walk in. They were maybe on their phone and they saw the post and they made a quick comment and made a question like, oh, when is this program happening? You getting to them in that comment section might be the only chance to talk to them. And it's essentially customer service if they have a question. Or if they have a baffled question in the comments, that could be a sign that you weren't as clear as you thought you were in your original caption. That'll help you grow. That'll help your voice grow. When it comes to negativity or possibly, goodness forbid, harassment in the comments, you have to determine as a library with your director, with your board through approved policies, what types of content are not permitted. And there are options. If you go into Facebook and Instagram, look at your settings, you have ideas, you have options to fit your preferences as far as if you want people to be able to post on your page or to share your content. You'll have to determine that for yourself. Topical content, we have to have topical content. We have to talk about Bridgerton, but we can also be ready to respond to library related news. You see a lot of libraries posting about challenge books, banned books, but we also like to have lots of posts that have a lot of reverence for the passing of beloved authors. So we're keeping our ears out for stuff like that. Or just spontaneous happenings that make for great visuals. Like if we had a library of things and our assistant director decided to improvise maybe a bit on the ukulele when it was delivered, I had to get a photo of that. You can also plan ahead for holidays and author birthdays or special observances, novelty observances, Pi Day, what have you. And you can always try to tie in a reference to library resources. I should really underline that. Always try to tie in references to library resources. This big book to the right is what I use for the calendar of events. And I've created just a big spreadsheet of all the days of the year that I particularly want to be ready for. Chase's calendar events, The Authority since 1957. So that's what I use to plan ahead, and definitely have a big running spreadsheet that I have shared with my youth librarians as well. So that stuff is ready to go. And it's got to be a team effort because they can't just see my face. I don't want that to be happening. I have a lot of, you can see here, a couple of staff members on TikTok and a couple of staff members getting ready for a book face here. And it just in general, followers like to see a variety of faces. They like to see faces in general in the content. Make sure your staff members are comfortable with this. Be respectful. If they do not want to be on social media whatsoever, do not bother them. Everyone here is very enthusiastic to be on social media, at least these 4 wonderful staff members. And I encourage that collaboration when it comes to this. My office is always open. I am telling people to send me emails all the time. Do not hesitate. You are not bugging me. If you have an idea for social media, I want to hear it. And then down here, we have these 2 TikToks in the bottom left corner. TikTok, you are often utilizing these strange sounds, could be a bit of audio from Encanto or what have you, and it is contextual and often abstract, and you are creating something of a visual meme that you can almost make your own narrative to, and it's probably a presentation onto itself. But you just have to be clear. If you have collaborators join you for a TikTok, you're kind of the director and they are your cast, and you have to give them their motivation for performing. Cinematography. Take the time to take a great shot. Take the time to make sure the lighting is great. I mean, every platform is a visual medium at the end of the day, and attention spans are precious commodities. And the prettier this picture looks, the more engagement it's going to get. So we're all, I mean, we all have these smartphones. We're all DIY photographers now. So before we click the veritable camera shutter, we have to be thinking about how we can wow our audience. Think of it as a 15-second movie maybe, or just an amazing snapshot with Instagram, vibrant colors, dynamic angles. We have these mirrored windows. We have this beautiful blue sky. With TikTok, make sure your videos are well lit. Make sure it has kind of a cool angle to it. You will have to be getting out a tripod very often with TikTok. And with Facebook, mildly outrageous or wholesomely charming. We've done some mildly outrageous book faces, not too outrageous, or wholesomely charming, like assistant director playing a ukulele, very cute images. And then also book face Fridays are very great, or behind the scenes content, big carts full of deliveries or what have you. People love to see what's going on back here within reason, within everyone's comfort levels. Again, make sure everyone wants to be on social media. Quick thing on memes. I like to create my own memes whenever possible, even if I'm, kind of already recycling like a bad library joke, or if I'm making up my own library jokes. I just go through Meme Generator, which is a website, or I use Canva to do this, and I'll take images of our library. If you want inspiration for bad library puns, you can always look through Book Riot or BuzzFeed or Pinterest or Reddit. You can find jokey library quips and repurpose it for your own setting. If you're looking for inspiration when it comes to library humor, you could literally go to Instagram, hashtag library humor, click it, and start following that hashtag. And you'll see inspiration every day, or library memes. If you are not creating your own meme, you're reposting a meme, credit or tag the creator if at all possible, or mention the library that you're reposting from if at all possible. Best practices there. Another thing for creating engaging content is just think of this charm factor, which I already have hinted at. These spur of the moment happenings, these you had to be there moments, whether it is we've had read aloud with dogs, or we have had completely unpredictable things like a local runners group or jogging group who came in here in December and just started doing impromptu Christmas carols. Well, we had to capture that. Just happened in the library. Or Book Face Friday, of course, always reliable. We've also done themed series of content, whether it is like a themed Thursday series of reading recommendations, or if it's a themed series of podcast episodes. That's always great for engaging content. That isn't about like, oh, come get your library card. This is more of the unpredictable stuff. So quick thing about TikToks and Reels, this is content that is 15 seconds or less. You could make content that's 60 seconds or 3 minutes if you like. 99% of it is quicker, 15-second stuff. You get a chance to be theatrical, dynamic, engaging, humorous, while simultaneously hopefully being informative. Again, what's guiding my TikTok content is what is going to get people excited to come into the library, what is going to show people that the library has a sense of humor. And I also create TikTok content that just puts us in the shoes of a patron. So jokes about something that is very relatable to a patron could be, OMG, all my holds came in at the same time. Again, this is TikTok. It's naturally frivolous. Everything I just said sounded frivolous. That's TikTok. But you can hop onto trending sounds, whether it is, as I mentioned, something from Encanto, and still create content that feels right for your library. We had something about Encanto tied in with book repair. You just have to get creative with it. If you'd like, you should read up on TikTok and Instagram's community guidelines, because you don't want to be posting something that goes against those and get into any trouble with any of those community standards pages. Those are online if you want to search for them. If you are on TikTok, as we are, you do get a 15-second limit, but 8-second videos will get more engagement. So you have to be quick on your feet and quick thinking, and you only have that much time to engage. And then just stay up to date on TikTok's ever-changing algorithm, which is something you could just Google right now and find several, I assure you, several articles. It's giving you insights into that. This is some software that we use to enhance our content. We use Canva every single day. It makes our flyers look amazing and our social media graphics. If we want to have a collection of books for reading recommendations or New Book Tuesday, or the presentation you're literally watching right now. Lumen is a video creation software, and it will quickly create kind of commercial-like videos. You could, take 5 photos of your library, upload all 5 of them, write a script into Lumen, and it will create a quick sort of slideshow with sentences of your script saying, the library is awesome, image. Come in to get your library card, image. Check out our kids corner, image. Very cool. We love it. We have the Adobe Suite, which is what we use for graphic design or video editing or web development or photography or our podcast editing. That's where we have Adobe Premiere and Adobe Audition. It's an expensive package. So over to the right, we have all these alternatives for these things. Instead of Canva, you could search for Visme, Crello, or Adobe Spark. Not all of them are free. Some could be free to start, or some might just fit your budget better than Canva. That goes the same for alternatives to Lumen. There's Animoto, Magisto, and Powtoon, which is something crazy that I encourage you all to explore. And instead of Adobe, go with Audacity, especially if you have audio editing to be done, or Vegas Pro if you have video editing to be done. Cheaper and or free or freer. This is also guiding my behavior on social media. I'm keeping track of my analytics. I'm checking monthly, if not weekly, on Instagram. This is just, you can find it in your account. If you're on Instagram, you got to hit those 3 bars on the top and you'll find insights. It can also inform when you should schedule, because you can see when your followers are the most active. So when we're particularly reviewing our analytics, we are looking at reach and engagement when it comes to Facebook. And we're looking at impressions, reach, and interactions when it comes to Instagram. Here's a couple of my 6 biggest things when it comes to marketing on social media and marketing really in general, whether it's newsletters or what have you. Be descriptive, but also try to be brief, because those attention spans are a precious commodity. Don't just post. Remember that you're trying to persuade and engage. Propose questions to boost engagement. You could say, what did you think of? Have you read a Bridgerton book? Give them a little question mark in there to make sure that maybe they can leave a comment in there. Maybe they'll say, yes, I did, and I couldn't stand season 1. Who knows? But they'll feel engaged. Consider how your resources maybe can benefit your patrons too. So if we're talking about our library things, I'm not just going to say, hey, we have a library things. I'm going to come in and say, you might benefit from this library things. Or did you ever need a thermal leak detector? Give them an in as to what they might need here. Did you need, or are you looking for a new podcast to listen to? So come at it from that way. Demonstrating the value of your library, but also reminding folks just how cool it is. That's the words I live by. But never assume you're preaching to the choir. Never assume that they already know how cool you are. We're ever hopeful that our followers will become fans, but they might not have the full picture yet. And really, any post that you do could be the first post from your library that someone in your community will see. So I like to bear that in mind whenever I'm posting something. I don't really come on and say, you already know the deal, folks. You know we have DVDs. That's not the right tone. This could be the first post someone sees from your library. Always remember that. And when it comes down at the end of the day, I love to see people come to programs. I love to see people come in and sign up for library cards, but awareness really is key. As long as people are aware of what your library is doing through social media or otherwise, that is still a win for us, especially at millage time. And then speaking of awareness, I've been telling you social media is a competition for attention spans. Anyone who visits our website, though, if I can direct traffic there, has no other distraction. It is nothing else but our content, which is really comforting. So in the Facebook About tab or in our Instagram bio, I'm making sure that the site's link is posted there and every other key location to get people hopefully to our website. That's where they're going to find everything from our events and our contact info, etc. So, your social media feeds are frantic and they flow by fast. So make sure quality content is reliably awaiting any visitor. So this leads us to, I'm often saying, visit FADL.org, which is the Ferndale Area District Library website, for more info.
I'm going to take it over from here for a little bit and talk about our website. I do want to, while I'm thinking of it, remind myself, there were a couple of questions about our mailer, which is actually our print mailer that goes out in mailboxes. We've only done 2 of those so far. And we're doing them kind of three per year is what we figured would be a good amount for us. We've gotten so much feedback. We've had so many people come in like, I saw in your mailer, and it's programming. It's about how to get a library card. So when we decided to do that, it was to reach all the people who were not looking at us in a digital medium or not walking in. And it's expensive, but it's worth every penny because we're reaching those people that we're not reaching otherwise. So I highly encourage if you can do it. The part of the reason that it's expensive is because we're having the print shop do the graphic outline for us. We're sending them the content and then they're doing the layout. And we decided that it saved us enough staff time that it was worth it to pay someone else to do that. Because as you all know, we're all stretched thin with how much we can accomplish in a day. And I've had this conversation with Jeff a lot about when we decide to pay for software to help with social media. Could we do it ourselves? Yeah, but how many hours is it going to take for us to do the graphic arts and to do the video creation stuff? Like, at what point is it actually more cost effective for us to pay for the software, to go through? So that's just that's something you'll have to decide for yourselves. But don't be afraid to have that conversation with your administration, because that's something we understand is staff time is valuable time too. And sometimes it's just actually cheaper to pay for the software that will do that work for you. So my little plug for that. So a couple of years ago, we were really, we had a WordPress website. It didn't have everything we needed. It was hard to navigate. It was hard to find information. So we started shopping around to see where we could have everything together. And as you know, there's a lot of vendors out there. We looked at Demco, we looked at LibCal, LocalHop. There are all these different places, and we weren't finding everything to put into one spot. And what we wanted was an up-to-date website that would be easy to navigate. We wanted to have our program information and registration in one place, and we wanted to be able to do room reservation software for our study rooms. And the only place that we could find that was in EBSCO Stacks. It had kind of all that together. Jeffrey, you want to go to the next slide? So feel free to explore our website. We were at the point where we were changing our domain. We used to be FerndalePublicLibrary.org from before we became a district library, which I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of Michigan library law, but it's a different type of just organization to it. So we had this opportunity to change our domain, and we decided that would give us enough time to set up a new website and then launch it immediately instead, but we decided EBSCO Stacks was going to be the thing that had everything in one spot. And it truly is more, can think of it as like a platform or a portal and not just a website. Jeff, you can go to the next one. So what we did, during the pandemic, we had some time to play with it, and we tried setting it up as much ourselves as we could. And we figured out the logic of the website, of where we wanted things and how to go through. But we eventually hit the wall where we realized we are not graphic artists. And so we had EBSCO take us over the finish line on it. And we told them we wanted something reflective of Ferndale. And they came up with this design for us as like a cute, downtown in the background. And so that's something just for our site. It's really cute. We like it. But it also, kind of ties it together and personalizes it for us. But we were able to set up all of how, which way you go around in the space and how you find things. Definitely go on to the next one. So one of the things we really wanted was a one-stop shop for library programming. We used Google Forms for years as a way to try to get registration for something and go through, and it's just hard to have things in different places. This is one of our recent programs, and you can see it's got the description of the program, the links over to the presenter's website. It has all the date and time information, but you can also sign up right in that spot. I don't have it shown here, but Stacks has a calendar feature where you can look at the month and you can filter it by adult programs, kids programs, teen, however craft programs, however you want to divide up your events. You just have to tag them and then you can sort and filter. So it's real easy for people to just look at your calendar online and be like, oh, they have all these things. And then when you click on the event, it takes you to this and it's all in one spot, which is exactly what we wanted. You can go to the next one. So we have not, because we reopened the building in July and we've been kind of busy, we haven't actually put in the room reservation part yet. We're only just now, our study rooms are starting to get busy again. But the idea was that people would be able to see which rooms are available and register online. You have the ability to approve them. It's not immediate, but it's actually a really nice feature of it. If you talk to Stacks, they can show you how, but it was just one more thing, because right now we currently have a piece of paper at the adult services desk where we write in by hand and people call us, and we really felt like we could do better. We just haven't actually put it in yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
If you want to, one other thing with the programming events, it stacks as such that your staff can all have different levels of login and ability. So if you wanted to spread the work out and have the librarians make their own event spaces on your website and just do an approval process, you can do that. I know when I watched a demo, there were some large systems and that's how they coordinated everybody. We're small enough and we have a small enough staff that's easier just to have everyone send all their information to Jeff and then him put it on. So we have like a similar tone to everything. But if you wanted to spread out the work amongst several people, that's built in on the back end. You'd be able to have everybody contribute so it spreads out the work. So
yeah.
All right, Jeff, last one.
I like the website because it gives me this nice landing page for our podcast, which we wouldn't be able to create something this visually pleasing via social media or as comprehensive.
And Jeff came to me about 2 years ago. We were in a meeting. He goes, I had this dream. I know it could never happen, but I'd love to do a library podcast. And I said, well, wait a minute. What would we need to make that? And then we started talking, and in the end, we decided we'd try it. We had the library friends, or the Friends of the Library group, bought us some equipment. We had looked to see what we might need, some microphones. We just use one of our small boardrooms, the room that Jeff is in, but we've also had him in other rooms in the library, just wherever he could do it. But it's actually a lot of fun. We get a lot of engagement on it, and we can park it on this right here in Stacks, to draw attention to it, but also, it takes it's not all on the usual. So it was one of those things where it's like, I have a crazy idea, like, well, maybe it's not so crazy. Let's give it a try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So
yeah.
So
and it's become great. Staff will come on and have conversations about books, or we'll have interviews with authors. This is also something that feels like a presentation unto itself. So if you want to email me, I'll be happy to answer any questions about podcasting. But sharing our episodes of podcasts to social media is another big part of our marketing, and it's another way to say, hey, look at how cool the library is. It's got a podcast. These are some things I am really excited about when it comes to our website. I know it isn't technically social media, but I consider these elements engaging. You can go to our website and request a book bundle. That is something a librarian, not an algorithm, a human being is going to make that book bundle for you. You can request personalized recommendations from our librarians. You can even recommend a purchase. You can look at all of our favorite things ever. You can see our personalities expressed. You can see what my favorite movies and books are. If you want to look for something to read, you can sign up for our newsletter. It's all this one-stop shop. It's all on that website. You can look at the podcast, which I just had, or find out about book clubs. Everything is there. And we're very happy about that. I just want to wrap up with the 3 big things that I think about when it comes to marketing and social media. If we are competing against algorithms and attention spans, we need to balance the blend of informative with a certain dynamism and flair. And if it's TikTok, yes, sometimes silliness that will bring your followers in, and then you can be informative at them. It's perfect. Planning is key. Create and follow a schedule for yourself. Do not overpost. Be topical, be flexible, develop a social media plan and a social media policy. It's good practice. And be considerate, be sensitive to your community. Your sense of humor may not be their sense of humor, so be responsive to that. And definitely consider what aspects of your library will get your patrons excited. I feel like I've said that word 5 times. Get your patrons excited. Thank you.
That was awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Even somebody in the chat said this was an awesome presentation. We're getting some comments now about it. I think we can we'll check the Q&A area and then we can scroll through the chat. But yeah, tons of questions in both places. So this was early on. What kind of attendance numbers versus registration numbers have you experienced? I don't know if did we mention the programs? This was from Barbara. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, Barbara, it really varies. I would say that we tend to get about 75% of the people who register will show up. You know, every once in a while, sometimes it's 50%, but you never know. Now that we've been having hybrid events where you can come in person and maybe wear a mask, but also tune in from Zoom, and we will have a camera set up, we've had program attendance increase because of that. So that's been exciting. We have something fancy called the OWL camera, which gives you a 360 panoramic view of the room at home. About 75% really.
Nice. Perfect. Okay, so, and then let's see, Barbara has another one. Any recommendations for posts after a prolonged period of closure for COVID or renovations?
Have you been posting regularly? I mean, that's kind of an exciting, this is your comeback post? That's very exciting. That's a very exciting post to make, you know. It's the we're back post. It's the, do you remember how nice it was to browse in person post? Kind of tap into really what they might have been missing about the library. And for our patrons, it was browsing in person, or it was just getting the chance to talk to a librarian face to face and maybe get some personalized recommendations. So remember what they were missing most and really remind them that is back. That magic is back.
Nice. Perfect. Okay, so Heidi has a question. She said, you mentioned not to include links on the Facebook content. How do you get people to your website for registering for events, programs if you don't have links?
I mean, that is really frustrating in general, isn't it? And I really wish I had a better answer other than we're thankful we have a super simple URL to just say, instead of typing HTTP or www.fadl.org and having it automatically create a link, I can at least casually say, go to fadl.org. And it is frustrating because you aren't giving them that actual link. I'm just saying, please visit our website or please visit this URL without hyperlinking it. Who knows if the algorithm is going to change.
Well, I saw someone mention the comment about putting the link in the comment. As
perfect.
As a way too, that they do that. So
perfect.
That's a good one. Nice. All right, Becky is wondering, how effective is blogging for a library?
Well, we have a blog. It's just not something that we lean on too heavily anymore. We used to blog a lot, but we did not see very much traffic to it. It's something I love. I love the idea of whether you're writing book reviews or if you're doing interviews with staff and having some articles on there. I love the idea. I think you should go for it. We have, I should say, on our website, something of a blog element, because our youth librarians will write articles with 3 to 5 book recommendations. It's there. It is there to be found. It's something we share to Facebook every once in a while. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Jeff doesn't put as much energy into the blog as he used to. I think with us doing the emailed newsletter, that kind of has taken the place of it.
Or
And
podcast,
so,
yeah.
right. So there's shorter bits of information. The blog, you might have it more like an article, like you'd have it, and we weren't. I think he was kind of finding it just wasn't engaging people as much because they were so bombarded with so many other things that having the shorter, bits of information kind of went through. So, but we always parked it on our website as a way, like if you're here and you really want more in depth, it's here. But we've kind of pulled away from spending a lot of time on it.
My advice would be to just make sure it's evergreen content. And book recommendations is in general just evergreen, especially if it's a themed list. Because if it is a blog, it might be something that someone discovers a month from now, and they might read it and love it if it's just living on your website. So if it's evergreen content, all the better.
Right, and thank you. And Teresa mentioned, she said our TikToks and Instagram Reels are doing wildly successful. Oh, it just moved. And our podcast is doing well, but they don't blog anymore. So thanks for that, Teresa. And then, Hannah, we're working with blogs, podcasts, me, and newsletters. The blogs and newsletters are probably the least popular. So that's good to know. Thanks, Hannah.
It's telling that I go to websites now and it indicate, like a pop culture website will indicate how long of a read it is. It's like, here's a review of the latest Marvel show. This is a 3-minute read. That's just how wildly busy people are. They need to be told how long they're going to be spending reading a piece of content. Anyway.
So true. All right, let's see what Amanda has to ask. Hi, I'm curious if you can easily post videos and stories in Instagram and TikTok from a desktop user, a schedule, Hootsuite, etc., or do you need a phone? Does your library provide a phone for you?
I'm using my phone. The library doesn't provide me a phone. Please, anyone else in the comments, if you've been able to upload a video to Instagram through a desktop, let me know. It's not something I've done.
Okay.
I entirely use my phone almost for everything here.
And I will say we tried to find an alternative to that. We explored a few years ago. So we bought like a DSLR or, the expensive camera that does the video to try to use. We had little pocket cameras. So we were trying to give people alternatives so that they could we did a Mevo camera for webinar. In the end, Jeff has said it's easier to use my phone.
Yeah.
So we've kind of tried to see if there was a way to like disengage, and be able to do it. But a lot of what he does is spontaneous. And in the moment, he always has his phone. So it's the sort of thing you kind of have to, talk about with your administration and see like what is the best way to do. But yeah, we've tried a few different ways.
Right.
I see a bunch of messages coming in now. I haven't been able to add to IG stories, but have been able to add video on Instagram, post via the computer.
The Creator Studio, you could use the Creator Studio to pre-upload videos to Instagram through a desktop. I haven't used Hootsuite or Buffer in a while. I'm mostly just going through Facebook's Creator Studio.
Great. All right. So Lorna Is there a max number or magic number of social media platforms you recommend using?
I think 3 is perfect.
Sounds good to me.
Really,
too.
and that's why those logos are right there on the screen. That's where we're concentrating our effort.
Okay, perfect. And then Laura, Facebook allows you to create one post for Facebook and Instagram. Do you think that's a good way to go, or should you create 2 posts, even if they're for the same information? So duplicate it or create 2 different posts?
If and all possible, we create 2 different posts. That has kind of been the rule of thumb, especially if you have someone, and very likely you do, someone is following you on both platforms. So you're not repeating yourself. Anyone in the comments can chime in, but who knows if that's true. You see a lot of people saying, I never use Facebook anymore. I only use Instagram, or vice versa, or I'm off this platform entirely. I only use this platform. So it's a gamble. I mean, maybe 7 or 8 times out of 10, we're trying to create unique content for each platform. But if it's something if we're really trying to drum up program attendance for a certain thing, we'll definitely double it up on Facebook and Instagram.
Great. And that's the same thing with EBSCO. Our practice is we won't put the same post in 2 different places. We will mix up the language a little bit.
I feel like there was a question about budgeting somewhere in there, and I do give Jeff $100 a month for Facebook ads, just as a general rule to put, and we take that out of our programming budget because it has to do with programs. So, so I did give him a budget for ads. Just
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, and I should have said this, but you can add, this is helpful, a link, this is random, a link into your Instagram stories, which I've been finding very helpful. You just start a story and you'll engage the sticker option, and you'll find the sticker that says link, and you can link someone to your youth librarians event.
Nice. Okay, let's go with one more question. Adriana, Facebook Creator Studio works to post from a desktop. Oh, maybe it's just a comment. Stories, IGTV, but not Reels, I don't think. Maybe this is called Meta now. And I think some people had mentioned Meta in the chat as well. Somebody might be using Meta. Yeah, this is perfect. So guys, I put the survey, that just the post webinar survey. If you guys have, it's super quick. So if you guys have a minute to fill that out, that would be great. Super appreciate that. And Jenny and Jeff, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. This is really great. And so yeah, everybody, I'll be sending the recording within a couple of days. I did put the link to the slides in the chat, but I'll also include that in the email message that goes out within a couple of days. And I can see Jenny and Jeff put their email addresses in. Thank you so much for that. So if we didn't get all your questions answered, feel free to reach out to them. Thank you in advance for that. So yeah, and thank you
Ask me
everyone.
anything.
You guys did a great job. So this was wonderful. Feel so
good. I'm
happy.
glad. I hope people get a few ideas to take back with them. So everyone can do things differently. It's just nice to always see what other people are doing. So I love reading all your comments.
Yeah, definitely good inspiration too. Yeah, I'll have a record of these comments. I'll share with you guys too. Yeah, and it's like almost a minute away from the hour. So perfect timing too. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Great.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.